Hi there, Leo. Thank you so much for stopping by for your monthly in-depth video tarot forecast. This forecast is for the month of July. We're going to start with July the 1st through the 17th, and then the second half of this video will cover July 18th through the 31st. The first thing that we're looking at is going to be about your environment, and your environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. So for most of you, it will be home, but for others of you, this could be work, this could be school. You want to kind of keep an open mind about where I may be talking about here. So what do we have coming up for environment? Environment? That's interesting. Your environment could be a little bit colder than comfortable during this time frame. Excuse me. I'm just laughing because here in the northern hemisphere, then, it's summertime. So for it to be colder, somebody is cranking up that AC big time. And if it's in the southern hemisphere, well, it's winter. That would be, kind of to be expected if there was something that maybe if the electric's gone out or, something going on with the stove or whatever. So anyway, what I feel like is your environment is going to be a little bit colder than you find comfortable. Okay? Next thing that we have showing, that's interesting. You guys are just going to have to tell me how that manifests. That's interesting. All right, so subconscious leanings during this time frame has to do with the idea that you feel like things are just not working out as smoothly as they should be. And I get the sense that you're feeling like that you're missing something, like there's some piece of information that, or something that if you understood a little bit better, things would be going smoother, because I think if this is really bothering you, that things are not going just as smooth as you're expecting them to right now. So yeah, it comes up that you're feeling like, like I'm just missing something. I'm missing a piece of the puzzle here. And so your subconscious is really working on figuring out what is that piece of the puzzle that you're missing. Okay. The next thing that we're looking at talks to me about your learning style and also your communication style. So learning style, I think that you are paying attention to those things that draw your attention. Whatever is glittery, whatever is shiny. I'm just joking about glittery and shiny, but something that fascinates you. Those are the things that you're learning about during this particular time frame. And as far as your communication style, it looks like you're really focusing on the positive, the uplifting, the things that bring light and bring truth to people. I think that is what you're focusing on in your communication. I think that whatever you're saying, even if it is a difficult thing to say, I think you're saying it in the most helpful, most encouraging way possible. You're trying to, if you're saying something hard, you're trying to soften the blow. And if you've got something happy and joyful to say, I think you're putting full-blown enthusiasm into that. All right, so next thing that I'm looking at has to do with work for you Leos. It's interesting. I think that somebody is expressing how important you are, or how important the work that you do is, whenever it comes to work at some point during this time frame. Maybe even more than one person. I'm kind of picking up for some of you that this is going to be something you hear from more than one person. That's nice, eh? All right, next let's take a peek at where you're growing and expanding during this time frame. And what we have coming up here is that you are really paying a lot of attention to collaborations and to making sure those collaborations go well. And so I think you're putting a lot of energy and effort into collaborations right now. And notice I'm not saying a collaboration. I think you have multiple collaborations that are happening, and some of those are some collaborations that you're curating on your own, but some of the others are ones that somebody invites you into or you hear about. But I do feel like there's at least one where you're actually curating that collaboration. All right, next thing we're looking at does talk to me about something that you stand for, and this is a card that's influenced by Mars, which means you could stand for it rather aggressively or assertively if the need be. And so this is going to be something that somebody has either asked you to explain or maybe even confronted you about, and so you've had to stand for it. So we're going to look at what it is you're standing for, and then we're also going to look at how this other person sees you after you have made your stand about this situation. So what do we have? So it looks like the person you're standing up for is a person. That's redundant, isn't it? But it's not a situation. It's not a decision that you made. This is another person. And it looks like there's a person in your sphere of influence who is very unhappy and also very vocal about that unhappiness. And I think that somebody has sort of confronted you, you know, well, how come you're not shutting this person down? Or how come you're going along with this person? Or whatever it is that they're asking you. And I think that after you have talked to this person about your person in your sphere of influence who's very vocal about their unhappiness, then they see you as somebody who is really doing your own thing. They see you kind of as not even paying so much attention to this person who's being so vocal about their unhappiness. I feel like you feel like their unhappiness is valid, but I don't think that you're, you know, like pushing anything because of this. I feel like you're just letting them do their thing, but you're not judging them about whatever their thing is, but you're off over here doing your own thing. Okay? And so this person is just seeing you as somebody who's really focused on your own thing and hopeful for this other person and also hopeful for yourself. Okay? So, what's the next thing we're looking at? We're looking at the lesson or experience of the time frame. It looks, Leo, like you're going to be really tempted to have a little pity party and feel sorry for yourself. Now, obviously, the reason that you get readings like this ahead of time is so that you can head energies off at the pass. So if you notice this energy coming in, this whole pity party, oh, woe is me type of energy, then, you know, you want to pivot with that. You want to turn that around as fast as you can. And so you want to pay attention. Even though there's been disappointments, usually when we have a pity party, it's not that there's not a reason for it. It's just that it's completely non-productive and makes us go backwards instead of forwards. So what you want to do, in spite of the disappointments that are happening, that are tempting you to have that pity party, is you want to just take your eyes off of those disappointments and look around at what are the opportunities in front of me right now? How can I be moving forward and take advantage of those? But right now, like as I put the cards down before we started going through this reading, what shows up is still pity party. Okay, so as the pity party happens, if you do that, if you don't change this energy, then there is a payday that shows up. There's something that you have invested in, whether you invested time, energy, money, whatever you invested in this, you invested expecting that there would be some kind of payoff or payback that would come to you. Well, payday is coming in at the same time that you're sitting in this pity party. Also, at the same time that you're sitting in this pity party, you've got a toxic situation around you that is clearing up, at least for now. That's what I'm hearing, at least temporarily. And so where you may have had a hard time getting any peace because of this toxic situation, the fact that it's clearing up temporarily is going to give you some breathing room where you have a chance to really sort things out and get things going in the direction that you want them to. And you have a chance to do what you want to do with your payday that comes in as well, and be wise with that wealth instead of dealing with whatever toxic situation normally would sort of gobble that all up. Okay? And then at the end of this time frame, we see you in a situation where you are feeling like you have everything that you want and need, and you even have enough to share with other people. And I think that you may be sharing some of your good with other people, and sharing some of your good doesn't have to be finances, doesn't have to be material goods. You could even be sharing advice or sharing your story about how you got into this position so that somebody else can copy off of you and do that same thing, especially if it's not a competitive situation. Okay, so that's what we have for that time frame, Leo. I'm going to take a little break, and when I come back, we're going to hit the last part of the month. Thank you very much for being here. I'll see you in a second. Welcome back, Leo. This time we're looking at July the 18th through the 31st. Your cards are on the table, so we're just going to jump right in. First thing that I'm looking at is your environment, and what I have coming up about your environment, and remember this is anywhere that you have energy or effort invested, but what I have showing up is that you're taking responsibility for some things going on in your environment. So you're handling things, you're taking care of some business when it comes to your environment. Next thing that I have showing up talks to me about your subconscious leanings. And I feel like subconsciously, Leos, you are really thinking about partnership, about coming together with people to create something. For some of you, this may be romantic partnership, but I'm feeling like for quite a few of you, this has more to do with business or with some type of project that you have on your mind. Next thing I'm looking at talks to me about your learning style and also your communication style. I do think that you are learning about some things that make you very excited, that make you feel good. I don't feel like you're learning about things that other people want you to learn about right now. This is all about what you want to learn about. And your communication style, I feel like, is very solid and very grounded. I don't feel like you're pulling any punches. I think that you're just very matter of fact in your communication, at least as it stands during this particular time frame. Next thing we have showing up does talk to me about work, and it looks like you're doing a really great job at work as far as recognizing the fact that there have been some disappointments there, but you're not letting those stop you or hold you back. You are continuing on and looking at, okay, well, what opportunity is here that I can still work with? I like to see that. That's productive. That gets you somewhere in life. Next thing we have showing up talks to me about that part of your personality, which is growing or expanding right now. You've got a lot of new and inspiring ideas, and I think that you are expanding in this idea of, okay, what do I do with these new ideas? How do I want to handle those? How do I want to move forward with those? Next thing that I'm going to look at talks to me about those things that you stand for. And so this is also going to look at, somebody asked you to explain this or they've confronted you about this. So not only are we going to look at what you stand for, but we're also going to look at how that person feels after you've communicated about this thing that you're standing for. So you're pretty focused on work right now. You're focused on doing a good job and getting things out there and, just making things happen as far as work goes at the moment. And after you've talked about this to somebody else and had that communication, it comes up that they see you as beginning something new, really as a leap of faith, just seeing where it's going to take you. All right, so next thing we're looking at talks to me about the lesson or experience that you are looking at as you're going through this time frame. What's coming out is that you have been kind of thinking and daydreaming about different things that you could do to make your life better, to improve your life, to improve the way that you live. And now the lesson or experience is now that you have figured out which of those many options that you have, which one you want to focus on and make some forward progress with. And so we see you really focusing on one way, maybe for some of you a little more than that, 2 or 3, but for most of you, I think you're focusing on one thing that you can do to make your life better right now. At the same time that this is going on, there is a situation that you thought was ideal, and I think you're realizing as you're focusing on improving your life, you're starting to realize that, yeah, I thought it was ideal, but now that I've got this new perspective and I'm seeing how I can improve things, that's close, but it's not really ideal anymore. And so changing perspective there. The other thing that I see happening as you're really focusing on improving your life is that you are coming into a place where you want to share the good things that you have with others. And I believe you are taking action on that. You are finding ways to share things. Maybe you're hostessing a get-together, or maybe you are teaching a class where you can share some of your good wisdom. Maybe you're giving gifts, but you're sharing some of the good that you have one way or another with people in your sphere of influence. And for some of you, this sharing that you're doing is with new people that you haven't met before that are just interested in whatever it is that you would like to share. And then once we get to the end of the month, Leos, what we see is a card that really talks about you were expecting to have something to celebrate at the end of the month. There's going to be something that comes up that keeps you from having that celebration. It's interesting because I don't feel like the reason for celebration is gone. I just feel like some key people are not going to be able to make it to the celebration that you wanted to have. And so I think that you're either rescheduling or canceling the celebration because of that. Okay, so that's what we have going on for your month, Leos. Thank you very much for being here. I'm looking forward to seeing some of you here for readings between now and the next video. Readings and or Reiki sessions, actually. And if I don't, well, then I still want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for the thumbs ups, and thank you for sharing this video. It is because of all of you guys' support that I'm able to do what I love to do for my living. So thank you very much. Everyone have a fantastic month. Peace out.